Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now, here's your host, Bruce Hutchin.
As host to Whitetail Rendezvous, I want to say thank you. Thank you for almost 100,000 iTunes downloads. Thank you to the 300 guests who've been on the show. And thank you to over 30,000 followers on social media. Couldn't do this show without every single one of you. And secondly, sometimes the sound quality isn't radio quality, isn't recording room quality. It is what it is. People might be in a tree stand, a box blind. They might be sitting in their pickup truck on a hillside, or they might be traveling to and from a blind or home from work. They're all over. And because of that, sometimes the quality isn't what you would expect or would have hoped for.
This is Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, episode number 307.
Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. We're heading down in the Carolinas, and we're going to meet up with Leon Smith, a.k.a. Country Boy, and Jonathan W. Thompson, a.k.a. Old Dude. Now, these gentlemen have been hunting the hills of the Carolinas for a long time, and they've come up with some great products. Jonathan produces what he calls Buck A Deer Minerals, and we'll talk about that in the show and the difference that it's made in his local herd. Plus, he's a Deep Howl Guide Services and runs Deep Howl Guide Services. And Leon runs 3-in-1 Outdoors. Listen to the show. Enjoy the show as I did really enjoy bringing these guys out, and I was laughing, crying, and as I say, praising the Lord. It was amazing show.
Hey, listeners, don't forget to text 33444 Food Plot for your free Food Plot ebook.
Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. Folks, it's the end of a long day, but I saved the best to last today, and I don't know when you're going to hear this episode, but we're heading south, and we're going to connect with a Mr. Leon Smith, a.k.a. Country Boy, and he is the main guy for 3-in-1 Outdoors. Then his partner is Jonathan Thompson, a.k.a. Old Dude. Now, he's the owner of Deep Howl Guide Service and Buck and Deer Minerals. Did I get that right, guys?
It's Buckade.
Buckade. Okay, Buckade Deer Minerals. All right. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. And, they've got another partner down there, Q. And hi, Q.
Hey, how you doing, Bruce?
We're doing good. So, folks, these guys promise they're going to keep me in line today. So let's start right off with Country Boy. Tell me about 3-in-1. What is that all about, and why'd you start that group?
Hi, everybody. This is Leon Smith, Country Boy. 3-in-1 got started last year. I've been wanting to do it maybe 15, 20 years ago, but I didn't have the courage to do it. And I heard a guy on the radio one day say, if you don't nobody laugh at your dream, it's not big enough. And so when I heard that sparked something in me to try to start 3-in-1 Outdoors. 3-in-1 Outdoors, the concept of 3-in-1 is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost under one God. And everything we do, we give honor and glory to God, because that's one to make the difference. And what we do, we do guided hog hunts, we do a few deer hunts, and do turkey hunts. And the prices are very reasonable. We're in North Carolina, and we just welcome. If you ever want to catch us, you can catch us on Facebook, Instagram. It's 3-in-1 Outdoors. That's how I got started, Bruce. And I've been hunting for maybe. I started when I was like 15, and God just placed it in my heart to start this organization, 3-in-1 Outdoors, and it's going well.
So, are you a guide service? Like,
kind of, yeah.
I'm a guide?
Yeah, I got. Yes, sir. I'm a guide service. Yeah.
Okay, but 3-in-1 is more than that. It's just not taking out people hunting. So you roll your Christian principles and beliefs into that. So what else does it do? I'm trying to grasp. Are you okay. Out helping people?
Yeah, we are. What we like to do, we like to get kids out or adults or females, whatever. Get them out, bring them out hunting, talk about God, talk about their religious beliefs, and main thing, we're trying to win souls for Christ. That's our main thing. We're trying to trying to be diverse between the blacks and the whites, bring everybody together, because we all one through God's eye.
Now, how did you start off, Leon? How did you start off hunting?
Well, I started off back when I was younger. My granddad used to take me rabbit hunting. My granddad and uncle used to take me rabbit hunting. I did that for a while. I was a small game hunter. Then deer hunting sparked my interest. And I didn't really have anyone to teach me because my dad, he doesn't hunt, and none of my uncles or my grandfather, none of them deer hunt. So it basically was trial and error for me. I started hunting when I was like 16 or 17. I didn't kill my first deer till I was like 24, 25, and I self-taught myself.
How'd you do that?
Just listen to guys tell me stories, just trying different products. Through the help of Jesus Christ, he showed me what to do. And one day, I bought me a climber. I can remember my first hunt like it was yesterday. I bought my climber. I climbed up a tree out in the field, and I was just sitting there just talking to God back in my early years. And I just happened to look up, and I was a spike coming through the field. First deer ever seen since I've been hunting. I took a shot at it. I killed it. And the most funny thing about it, after I killed the deer, I said, I'm going to get on my climb. I was climbing down the tree out of my climber. I thought I was on the ground, but I wasn't. And I stepped down.
Oh, no.
It ain't funny, but I fell out the climber.
Oh, no.
I was probably 3 or 4 feet off the ground where I thought I was down, but you know how when you fall, you look around, make sure ain't nobody looking at you?
Yes, I do. Now, did you take that deer with a bow or a gun?
I got him with a rifle. Actually, I didn't get into bow hunting until maybe 3 years ago. I got into bow hunting 3 years ago, and I started out with a Jennings bow. And when I met with Jonathan on last year, he saw my bow. He's like, man, you need to get a better bow. So he turned me on to Hoyt. So I got me a Hoyt now.
So you are sitting in the tree then with a bow and arrow.
I'm still sitting in the tree. I'm still sitting in the tree. Yep. I bow hunt, I muzzleload hunt, and I rifle hunt. Yeah.
Well, heck, your days are full now. Do you have an outside job other than 3-in-1?
Yeah, I drive trucks. I'm a truck driver. I drive for Harris Teeter out of North Carolina, the Harris Teeter grocery store. Yeah, I drive for them. I deliver groceries for them 4 days a week. And on my off time, you can catch me in a tree. I'm either hunting hogs or I'm hunting deer or chasing turkeys.
That doesn't sound too bad to me. That's for darn sure. Now,
that ain't too bad.
No, I don't think so. Now, it's a nonprofit organization. Now,
that's correct. That's correct.
So you're 501c3 then?
I haven't got my 501c3 yet. It's still in the process.
Okay.
Still in the process. It's still working. I still got a lot of stuff I need to do, but we're just getting started,
Yeah. It sounds like you guys have a lot of fun. That's for sure. Now, old dude, tell me about your Deep Hollow outfit and how you got started hunting.
Well, it's a funny story. At the age of 12, my father couldn't take me out to hunt because of his health wouldn't allow it. My dad was on oxygen, and being a young boy and was always excited and wanted to learn how to hunt, I learned to hunt from the kitchen table. So, one day he told me, go in the room, get the gun, bring it to me. And I was like, why? He said, just do what I told you. So I went and got the gun, come back. He said, now look in the hall closet. He said, you'll see a little green toolbox. Get that and bring it to me. I was like, why? He said, just do what I told you. And see, back in those days, the gun oil and stuff wasn't really that popular. Everybody was using 3-in-1 oil to clean their guns and everything. So he had a Featherlight 12-gauge shotgun. He broke it down. He showed me how to clean it, how to put it back together. And he gave me one of the most important lessons of my life at that time. He said, son, you never point a gun at anybody unless you intending on killing them. He said, and the second thing to remember is, he said, anytime you hunting on somebody's property, he said, you always try to leave it better than you found it. He said, if there's anything going on, he said, you let the landowners know. He said, that way you'll always have a place to hunt. And my hunting started from there. I killed my first deer at the age of 15, and when I came home, I backed down in the front yard. My dad came to the door. I'll never forget it. He looked outside, and was nothing more exciting to him than knowing that his baby boy, I'm the youngest out of 9, but nothing more excited to him than knowing his baby boy had killed a deer. He wasn't rabbit hunting no more. He was hunting big game. If you walked in our house, if you didn't hear that story 1,000 times, and if you didn't see that empty shell casing 1,000 times, you didn't hear it once. So my dad was born and raised in a little town called Winsboro, South Carolina. And he told me, he said, well, why don't you go back down there? He said, just some of the people, and you'll find them, tell them who you are. And followed his directions, went back, met some of my family, and they turned me on to a place that I was hunting down there for years. And luckily, a gentleman I work with by the name of Henry Jenkins owned 5,000 acres. And, I came back home. That's when I started hearing about everybody guiding. And at that time, coming from a little small town like Rock Hill, South Carolina, the only places you really heard about was places like Texas and Oklahoma and Wyoming and stuff like that. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to step up. I wanted to get into the guide service. I wanted to give something back. So I came home and I was sitting there, I was talking to my dad, and I said, I can't think of a good name for my business. And he told me, he said, well, you like to hunt those deep hollows back at home. And I thought about it. And I was thinking Muddy Creek Outfitters, Swamp Bottom Outfitters, Lily Pad Pond, just all kind of crazy names, but it was just something about deep hollow stuff. And coming from my father, that was the cement that held these bricks together in the formation of Deep Hollow Guide Service. And from that time on, I've been in business now close to 30 years. I love it. I like taking people out. I like to see kids, especially kids. I like to see them harvest. I like to just take them out and just talk to them and let them enjoy what God has created. And you said earlier in the pre-interview, some of the best hunts I've had was hunts where I've never taken a shot, just sitting there watching God's beauty come to life. There's nothing more pretty than on a frosted morning, you're sitting there, you're looking at a frost, and you look at the crystallization as the sun starts to come up, and you're just seeing what God has created, just the beauty of knowing what he has given you. So therefore, when I can share what I've been blessed with others and see them get enjoyment from it, that means the world to me at all. Later on, every time you go to the store, they got so many products out there in the store, and you ask the people, well, what's the beneficial value to my deer? And the first thing they tell you is, the deer love it. But they hadn't told you anything about it except the deer love it. Well, I like to go a little bit deeper than just the deer love it. So I started asking different people and, asking questions about what could I do to increase, the health of my deer, to increase bigger deer, to get bigger bone mass. And they started giving me little tidbits of information. And after about 10 years of research, I came up with this product that's called Buckade. Why is it called Buckade? Simple. Because it's deer resistible and it's delicious. And the deer love it. It produces body mass. It produces the horn mass. And you got more healthier deer. Where does it all start? It starts in the birth canal. When that doe conceives those fawns, whatever she puts into her body is being passed on to those babies. So when she hits this Buckade mineral site, it's being passed on to them. So when those fawns hit the ground running, they're more healthier, they're more stronger, and everybody knows they're going to follow mom and see what she does because she's going to teach them. And normally when you see a year-old deer, you're looking at a spike, maybe a fork horn. Well, on Buckade, when you see a year-old deer, you're looking at a 6 to 8 point buck, anywhere from 100 to 120 pounds carrying his first set of horns. I prayed over it and asked God to give me something that I could go on, and he instilled his idea in me. And you just don't take an idea and let it die. You take that idea and you run with it. And a good friend of mine told me, if you think it's worthwhile, you put your name on it. So that's how Buckade came along, and everybody on my staff, on my pro staff, Team Buckade, we use our own products, we promote it, and right now, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're in about how many states, Leon? About 8?
About 8 or 9 states.
In about 8 or 9 states. And a gentleman hit me up today, and he says he's wanting to introduce it to Arkansas. So, but God will make a way, and he will speak to you. But it's how you hear what he's saying and how you interpret what he's saying.
Yes, sir. Now, what about this deer cane? And that's how this whole thing started, listeners. There was this deer posted. I'm going, that's a darn nice buck. So, Country Boy and old guy, what's up with that? Pardon me, old dude. What's up with Kane, and why is that such a story?
You want me to start? Or you want to start? I'm gonna let Jonathan start the story.
Okay.
Yes,
the
sir.
King. You have the King. Elvis was the king, but we killed the King. K-A-N-G. On this property that we're hunting on now, I introduced Buckade to this property last year, and I had several pictures of the deer that we now call the King. And when Leon shot this deer, he was muzzleloader hunting, in which we doubled up, and he told me, he said, Jonathan, he said, man, I done killed a big deer. And I was like, really? He said, yeah. He says, possibly the biggest deer I done killed in my life. So I said, okay, well, I'll be over there in a few minutes. And I come down and went to him, and We got together, and I said, where was he standing? He showed me, and we instantly got on blood, which we trailed this deer for about maybe, I'm going to say about 100 yards. And when we saw him, the first thing come out my mouth was, I said, Leon. I said, that's the cane. He said, are you sure? And I showed him a picture. I said, this is the picture from last year. The picture from last year and the final picture of that deer probably put on about 12 to 14 more inches of horn that he was carrying last year. And the body weight, he was well over 200 pounds. This is what we're trying to tell everybody about this product that we have. You know, it's if you never try something, you'll never know. But if God gives you something, then you can feel sure about it. You can feel good about it.
Country Boy, tell us about the hunt. I mean, you're the guy that pulled the trigger, so tell us about the hunt. Where you were, you know, why you were sitting where you are. Just lay it out for us.
Okay, there we go. So we got in the woods. We got together that morning. Went down to our spot we hunt at. Got in the woods about 5 o'clock that morning. It was cold, but it wasn't really cold, you know. Sat there. About 7 o'clock, I heard a shot. Boom. I texted Jonathan. I said, "You shoot?" He said, "Yeah, I got a buck on the ground." I said, "Okay." I'm still sitting there, haven't seen nothing all day. I'm getting discouraged, man. And around 8 o'clock, I heard another shot. Boom! I text my man Jonathan, the old dude again. I said, "You get another one?" He said, "Yeah, man, I got a doe." I said, "Man, I ain't seen nothing over here, man." He said, then I just sat there. It was getting about 8:30, 9 o'clock. One of my friends texted me, and they said, "Just be patient. God's gonna send you something." And I just went. I just quoted my old verse, my verse I usually quote when I go in the woods, Matthew 7:7. I said, "Ask, seek, and find." And God said, "God, I'm just asking you if it's your will today, let me kill a deer." By that time, I'm just sitting there. I'm looking at my bag, about ready to just give up. And I looked up. I saw something stick his head out. I was like, "Man, that was like a deer." And it came on out. It was going to my corn pile. I was like, "Man, that's a big deer." So I had my muzzleloader. I pulled my muzzleloader up, pulled my hammer back, and I pulled the trigger. And the joker misfired. And the deer, he just looked. He just looking at me, just sitting there looking at me. He ain't moved. He ain't running. Because most time a big deer of that size, he gonna take off. He ain't gonna wait around for that deer that click. So he just sitting there because where I'm hunting at, we call it the picture frame. Because we got to stand in between some cedars. And we got a little block cut out where you just look through that little block. And he just sit there, just standing looking, trying to figure out what it was. So I pulled the hammer back again and hit the trigger. And the gun said, boom! You know, the gun went off, smoke everywhere. You can't see because I'm shooting the muzzleloader. I heard it did take off, going down through the woods, stumbling and falling. So my man Jonathan texted me. Well, he called me. He said, "Did you get one?" I said, "Man, I got a monster." He said, "What?" I said, "I got a monster, man." He said, I'm on the way. So I heard him crank the foil up. He's coming. I'm getting down from my stand, taking my safety harness off and everything, getting down from the stand. And got down. He said, "Where was he at?" I said, "He was right down." He was probably maybe 25, 30 yards from where I shot it, where I took the shot. So I went down and looked at the corn pile and saw blood. So I was getting excited then, you know, I got blood, you know, so he's a good tracker. So he's tracking the deer. I'm behind him. I'm looking. So we started tracking. We got in the woods, and I looked. I said, "There it is over there." So we walked over there to the deer. I hadn't seen the rack yet. I saw it when I shot, but I wasn't focused on the rack. I was focused on the body of the deer because it was a big body deer. And he pulled it up and said, "Man, it's the cane." I said, "Huh?" He said, "It's the cane." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "This deer, I've been trail camping 3 or 4 years, man." I said, "No, man." He said, "Yes, he." So he showed me some pictures, and the Lord let me take the cane, man. Hey, I'm just blessed and overwhelmed. I mean, you can see I was overwhelmed that day in the video because I've been through a lot the last 3 years, and I needed that. I really needed that. So
he had a split brow tine, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a split brow tie. His tines was they had to be 12, 13 inches long. I'm having him mounted as we speak. He's going on the wall.
Yeah, I just sent you an email. Make sure I have that the picture of that, like a couple of pictures of that. So when I post it on the website, you know, when I release your show, then I'll post it on the website so everybody can see it because we're talking about cane. Hey Q, are they telling me stories? But I'm looking at a picture. It looks like a pretty nice buck. Is it that nice?
Oh yeah, he's a monster. He's a monster. Not your average deer you just kill out Chester, South Carolina.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, either Country Boy or Old Dude. You know, how big are your typical deer where you hunt? Obviously, this is a tremendous deer, but if a guy goes out and sees a 4, 6, 8, or 10 point, how large are they body weight?
Okay, you want to know without using buck aid or after using buck aid?
Without using buck aid. Just if I go out to some state land someplace and I'm going to shoot a deer.
Average deer where we hunt at, you looking at say a 4-year-old deer, you're going to be knocking on the door of 180 pounds to 200 pounds easy. But understand where we hunt at, it's under a lot of pressure around us. Deer don't generally get to be 4 or 5 years old because we got hunters here that don't believe in letting deer walk to grow them big. But on the average, you're looking at anywhere 4-year-old, 5-year-old deer, 180, maybe 200 pounds.
Okay, and then on your property, if you're using minerals and everything, you're not doing that on state land or public land, are you? You're using it on private ground.
Yes, it's on private ground. And the thing about buck aid, you have to follow your state rules and regulations to see if, you can use these minerals, because in certain places you can use minerals. Well, in North Carolina, you can use minerals in the off season, and you can't hunt over it during the season. In South Carolina, it was legal to bait. They just passed legalized corn last year. So South Carolina, you can hunt over bait down that way, but we don't really use the minerals as a bait. We use it as a supplement, like I said, to make the deer healthier, to increase that body mass and that horn mass on them. And what we're trying to do is South Carolina has big deer, North Carolina has big deer, but what we're trying to do now, we're trying to really put South Carolina on the map for starting to produce what you call those Bruins. Everybody's got pictures of big deer at night, but how many chances are you going to see an absolute monster walking during the daylight? And the reason for that is because when you don't see those big deer in the daylight, it's a lot of pressure. A lot of those scrapes that you find, a lot of those paw marks that you find, a lot of that rutting activity is done at night. So we're trying to bring what's in the dark into the light. And if you look at what we're starting to kill, look at the caliber of deer that we're killing in this small group versus what everybody else is killing around us, and you see why we consider ourselves a step up and a step above. No better than the next man, but a step up and a step above.
Now, do you guys read any stuff from QDMA, Quality Deer Management?
Quality deer management? Yes, we do. Yes. We believe in managing your herd, give them a chance to grow. We believe in culling. We believe in keeping that doe to buck ratio. We kind of like that doe to buck ratio 2, maybe 3 does to every buck. That way you will see your more bigger bucks, and it's going to make those they're going to run those smaller bucks out so they can have breeding activity. But when you have your herd out of balance, anywhere 8 does and above, that's why you start to see a whole lot of little small deer in their breeding, because your competition is so great. But we want competition between the monsters and not the peewees.
And in your pictures, I got to talk about hog hunting, because hogs are a problem. I know in Wisconsin where I hunt, if you see a hog, shoot a hog, because we just don't want them there. How are they for eating? Because I've never eaten a wild hog. How are they eating?
They're hogalicious. man. Man, you ain't had no good eating till you eat a real wild hog. Man, they're better than store-bought hog, I think. Just my opinion.
You know why?
Why?
You don't have no chemicals. You don't have no chemically induced growth. You got natural forage. You got what God is putting in them and not what man is putting in them. That's why people running around here with cancer, eating all this cancer-causing products out here. You got to go wild.
Here we go.
You got to stay with it.
So, Eddie, now how do you keep the hog population down and not eating all your deer aid? Now, because buck aid, deer minerals, because that would be a problem.
Well, one thing about it is this. When Leon and I got together and he told me what was going on, you talking about an animal that can breed every 6 months. And if a sow dropped 13 piglets 6 months later down the road, 7 of those 13 are sows, they can drop. So you got to stay on top of it. I mean, we trap, we hunt, we guide for it, And, hey, believe it or not, for us, it's becoming to be fun because, see, here you can hunt hogs all year long.
Yeah, we're going to year round, day and night. Yep, day and night.
So you can go out with night options and sit up in a tree stand or whatever. Now, can you bait hogs, or they're just they're coming into crops, standing crops?
Yeah, you can bait hogs. You can night vision hogs. You can. In North Carolina, there's no limit on hogs. I mean, you can kill as many as you want. Yep.
So how many acres are you running, and doing all this good stuff for the deer herd? How many acres are you guys running?
Are you talking about South Carolina and North Carolina, or just North Carolina in general?
Well, wherever you got your program set up and then you're guiding on, and you're starting to see some darn nice bucks come out of the does that are eating the minerals, and like you said in the beginning, that's where it starts. People think, I'll just put the feed out and the bucks will get better. No, it starts with the does. If they're healthy going into when they're going to give their kids when they get impregnated, if they're healthy and not stressed, they're going to throw healthy fawns. No question about it. Yeah. I mean, that's simple. That's real simple. Some people don't get that, but that's as easy as it is. So you got to make sure your herd, got the stuff they need to grow.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to see how big an enterprise you have that you're putting this quality in, because what happens is if you've got private land, well, then all of a sudden your neighbors start seeing bigger bucks because the bucks on your land are kicking them out and saying, you got to go someplace else or I'm going to kick your butt, right?
Yeah, true.
Well, in South Carolina, we probably running close with everything I got, and with the pro staff. South Carolina, we're probably knocking on close to about 3,000, 4,000 acres in South Carolina. And coming out of North Carolina, with what Leon has and the other properties we got, I'm just going to say probably close to about 800 acres in North Carolina.
So what place has the bigger bucks?
Well, guess what? Now, all of them going to have North Carolina and South Carolina, because we doing what we got to do. We doing our homework. And the thing that I love is this. When we put Team Buckeye together, we was very selective in the members that we took on board. Each member had to bring something positive to the table that was going to benefit Team Buckeye and help it grow. And it's not about just any one individual. That's why it's Team Buckeye. My accomplishments is my teammates' accomplishments. My teammates' accomplishments is my accomplishments. This thing was given to us by God, is fueled by man, and by his mercy and grace, it will grow.
I like that. That's strong.
Oh, we deep. You can believe that. We deep, hollow deep.
Yeah. More deep hollow than just a deep hollow, man.
Hey, it's 3-1, baby.
Yeah, we could go. I can't wait till we sit at a campfire and start talking about deep hollow. I mean, for days on that one. Holy.
Yeah.
Folks. So, Q, what are you doing with these boys?
Well, I'm the youngest out the group. I'm 26, and I just got hooked up with the old dude here this year, and he made me a pro staff and with Buckeye.
Yeah. So, what's your story? What's your hunting story?
I've been hunting since I was about 13 years old. I always had a land around. Never really had anyone to take me. One day, for a Christmas on my 14th birthday, my grandma bought me a Savage 270, and that following Christmas, my mother bought me and my brother 2 single-man air blinds, and we always had this little field that was easy access to get to, maybe 200-300 yards behind the house, and we used to go out there all the time and just set up. Ever seen that? Like I said, we didn't have a truck or 4-wheeler to really transport corn or do any food plots or anything, so we were just hunting just straight off instinct and trails. So one day we were sitting down there, and a doe finally came out, and that was my first deer I killed, and I just been hooked ever since.
Well, you got some good mentors there, and that's a neat thing that Leon and Jonathan you're doing, because it takes people, and most people know my story, but Harry Shearer and Otter Light and Dick Rogers got me going hunting, and I was never, and that was a long time ago. But it's taken me places that I've never gotten to, without. And it's hunting, and I can sit and talk to somebody about hunting, and they just look at me cross-eyed, deer in the headlights, and I could talk all night. And they'll never get it. I mean, they'll just flat out never get it, and you got to accept that. And that's one thing, listeners. You run in that situation, and your uncle just looks at you at Christmas time and kind of just goes, "You kill what? I'm eating what? I don't want to eat that. Whatever," and just walk on by it, because you're not going to convince people, and so don't try, and just don't try. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, we understand that.
Well, guys, we're at the soft stop, so both of you, you've got a chance to give shout outs, and then we've been on. This has been so much fun, folks. We spent 20 minutes in the warm up, so we've been having a good time here. So anyway, it's time for shout outs. You got a minute or two to do shout outs, and then we'll wrap the show.
Go ahead first. Go ahead, John.
Okay, this is Jonathan Thompson, a.k.a. Old Dude. I just want to give a shout-out to all Team Buck 8. I'd like to give a shout-out to James Jackson, Henry Lakeisha Woodard. The list goes on, but I'm going to keep it short so my teammates can say that following. But one thing I'd like to leave to you listeners, a kid in sports is a kid out the streets. You can take him to McDonald's and eat for a moment, but if you teach him to hunt and fish the ways of the old, they'll eat for a lifetime. Remember, always place God first in everything that you do, because it's only through him that he allows us to do the things that we do. Thank you for listening. I'm the Old Dude. Have a blessed evening.
This is Leon Smith, Country Boy, a.k.a. I want to give a shout-out to all the 3-on-1 Pro staff, all the Buck 8 Deer Mineral Pro staff. Most importantly, give honor to God for letting us have this platform to share our story, maybe bless and draw some lives to Christ. I'm out.
Hey, this is Q checking out. I just want to give a thanks to Buck 8, 3-1 Outdoors, and you will be hearing us in the future very, very soon.
On behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous across North America, thousands of listeners, just thanks, guys. This has been a ride. I'm just smiling. This is after a 10-hour day. You guys you lit it up, and I've just had so much fun. So, again, thank you so much for being guests, and Merry Christmas to all your families.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, Bruce. Thank you for the platform, man.
You don't want to miss tuning in to the next show and listening to Joey Yusko. Joey is one heck of a team member, pro staffer for Keystone Wild Outdoors with Steve Bracco out of Pennsylvania. Joey lives down in the low country, and he's been hunting whitetails since he was 5 years old. Down there, they can hunt them with dogs, so he's got some great tradition of the hunt stories to share with you. And fact of the matter is, this guy loves to hunt.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.